A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of the show. It's the last one for the year. We're going to spend a few minutes that we have taking a look at the things happening in the world of sports. And of course, we will review 2021. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Yemi Adebayo. All right, on the show tonight, we'll talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria and all the news coming out of the camp of the Super Eagles right about now. And like I said, we want to review 2021. What happened in 2021, the bright spots, if any, and what to consolidate on in 2022. By popular demand, we'll bring back the report. Of course, the reports we did on 2021 and the sporting year, the highs, the lows in terms of sports for Nigeria. Let's allow you to enjoy that report. We'll come back for more sports tonight.
Sports in 2021 assumes a more lively disposition despite the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic that disrupted economic and social activities in 2020. In Nigeria, the National Sports Festival in Benin City, Edo State, finally got underway after several postponements owing to increasing virus infection rate. After 3 weeks of action, Delta State emerged overall champion after topping the medals table. But aside from these competitions, what can be done to engage the homegrown athletes?
It was not perfect, but I'm really looking forward to Delta next year because I know the guys in charge, but at least they have a track record, so you have an expectation for that. The youth games was super for us because if you notice on that table we had more of our competitors coming second, silver and bronze, which for me was good because we clearly had the youngest contingent at the competition. So if we have that, it tells in the future is great already. So yes, it does bridge the gap, but we need more of those competitions. It doesn't have to be a national competition. Where are the regional games? Where did they disappear to? Where are the inter-school and interstate? It's only football we keep seeing, and even the football. So we need to create more platforms for competition.
The Tokyo Olympics had its share of shortcomings caused by the virus outbreak, which implied for the first time in the competition's history, fans are not allowed physical access to the games. Team Nigeria presented 63 athletes in 9 sports, but athletes protest over remuneration and disqualification of some Nigerian athletes from the track events for failing to comply with the out-of-competition testing requirement plagued the country's campaign. In the midst of this, Blessing Oborodudu in women's wrestling and Ese Brume in women's long jump put Nigeria on the medal table at the end of proceedings.
There's been the highs, there's been the lows. There have been concerns for Nigeria, but we can always look forward to the future, that there's an improvement somewhere. From the Olympics, where we had quite a lot of promise going into it, and unfortunately, it just didn't live up to expectation. We did win a couple of medals, and that for us is where we'll build on, going for subsequent events. There's the Commonwealth Games 2022, so there's the blueprint for what we've done this year.
We know that COVID-19 dealt us a fatal blow, slowed down a lot of activities. Many things did not quite go well. Remember at the Olympic Games, for example, we did not really excel the way one should have. Some key sports did not even feature at the Olympic Games. Some sports were abandoned after years of training and hardship. That I find difficult to explain.
You saw there were a lot of issues at the Olympics. Some of our athletes couldn't participate because of mismanagement at home. Some of the federations were actually in turmoil before we went to the Olympics. That is very clear from the AFN to the MBBF. There were issues about marketing, about kitting. I think 2021 threw up all those issues. And I think that it's giving us some consciousness to begin to look for answers. I think that's what the minister is trying to do.
The Tokyo Paralympics followed suit and, as usual, became Nigeria's biggest platform to excel. Nigeria's Paralympians left the Japanese capital with 4 gold, 1 silver, and 5 bronze medals.
The chairman of the electoral committee,
After the Olympics and Paralympics, the National Sports Federation's elections raised several questions regarding the autonomy and independence of the governing bodies.
Whilst they say things about government interference and support for the game is sort of like overbearing sometimes, I genuinely don't think that's the case. You need to identify what you need to do together, because strategic partnerships very, very important for cricket and other associations going forward. You need to define the strategic partnerships with government, strategic partnerships with the media, strategic partnerships with sponsors, strategic partnerships with schools and other organizations. I think when people begin to see that these opportunities and the nature of relationships are clearly defined from the beginning, then everyone will be aligned.
Moses Simon playing as right wing back today, delivers that one into the box.
The performance of Nigeria's national football team, Super Eagles and Super Falcons in international competitions comes into focus.
The opportunity, and Nigeria have a dream start.
Super Eagles' near escape in the race to the 2022 FIFA World Cup drew different reactions from stakeholders, which cost then coach Gennard Rohr his job.
We need to go back to the basics, and we need to look for the right structures, the right foundations that will make us recover ourselves. In the African Footballer of the Year award, we are really hardly mentioned anymore in the real sense of it.
What happened to globally, the pandemic, is also reflected in Nigerian sports generally. So we really didn't make much mark, and even in football competitions that we qualified, we didn't really qualify with relative ease. We struggled all throughout. I just hope that by 2022 we should be able to do things better.
2022 promises to be another eventful episode for Nigerian sports, with the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon, the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and FIFA World Cup in Qatar all in stock.
All right, that's it. A review of 2021, the sporting activities involving Nigeria in 2021, and of course, a look ahead into the things to expect in 2022. One of the things to look ahead for is the Africa Cup of Nations. And by the way, it's just 9 days to go. Everything starts on January 9th, right there in Cameroon. And of course, it's going to hold from January the 9th to February the 6th, 2022. It's still AFCON 2021. It keeps the name 2021, but it's going to be played in 2022. And let's talk about updates from the camp of the Super Eagles. Not what we wanted to hear, but it has happened. 4 players have been replaced in the squad of the Super Eagles. But first, look at the names of the players in camp. Chidera Ejuke, Daniel Akpeyi, Sadiq Omar, Olisa Onda, John Noble, Taiwo Awoni. These are the players in camp as of now. But let's quickly talk about what happened today. In your picture, biggest piece of news, Victor Osimhen will not be at the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. He has been ruled out of the Cup of Nations. Henry Onyekuru has been called up as his replacement. According to the Nigeria Football Federation, Osimhen has been excluded from the tournament after testing positive for COVID-19, while also still recovering from the facial injury he suffered in November. And of course, you have Watford attacker Emmanuel Dennis also misses out. Abdullahi Shehu misses out as well. And of course, Leon Balogun also will not be in Cameroon. The players called up as replacements are Peter Olayinka, Tyrone Ebueyi, and Shemilogo Ajayi. And of course, Enyo Oyekuru, who is the direct replacement for Victor Osimhen. So the 28-man, that's the last-minute change in the 28-man list for the Super Eagles going to the AFCON. All right, let's talk about Emmanuel Dennis for a second. Of course, it was a worst-kept secret that Watford were very reluctant to release the danger man who has scored 8 goals for the club this season. Watford manager Claudio Ranieri has been saying that the club has not disrespected the AFCON in any way, and he says he's happy with the way Watford and the Nigerian Football Federation has resolved the matter, and of course he feels that the outrage was not necessary. A lot of people have been pointing accusing figures at Watford, insisting that they have showed a lack of respect for Africa's biggest football tournament. But contrary to what has been out there, Ranieri says the club actually respects the tournament, but in Emmanuel Dennis's case, the invitation came a bit too late. That's the update for Emmanuel Dennis, and that's his coach. I'm very sure the coach will be very happy to keep Emmanuel Dennis. The other players left that squad. Of course, they're releasing about 4 or 5 African players. Trust Ekong also leaving. The Senegalese Sarr also leaving that squad, but they've been able to hold on to Emmanuel Dennis, and some other players still being expected in the Super Eagles camp, but some of the players in England will probably be arriving after January the 3rd. There's been an agreement between the Confederation of African Football and the English Premier League. Let's move on the show tonight. Let's go to the Nigeria Professional Football League and take a look at matches that would be played during the festive period. Let's take a look at match day 4 fixtures, all for you. Interesting fixtures, I dare say. Dakar will take on Remo Stars. You have Nasarawa United taking on Hako United. Wiki Tourists will take on MFM. Rivers United will be up against Sunshine Stars. Kano Pillars will take on Eyimba. Eyimba has been facing the tough teams at the start of this season. Plateau United will take on Heartland. Shooting Stars will take on Katsina United. These are the fixtures. Abia Warriors will take on Kwara United. Rangers International of Enugu will take on Niger Tornadoes. These are interesting matches to look forward to in the Nigeria Professional Football League match day 4. Let's travel abroad now and go to the English Premier League, as it is the tradition. On New Year's Day, there will be football matches across England. Let's show you what's going to happen on Saturday and on Sunday. Let's give to you the fixtures, and we'll take some reactions later on. Arsenal at top of the pile. Arsenal will take on Manchester City. It's going to be interesting to see what the Gunners will be able to do against Pep Guardiola's men. Leicester City will take on Norwich City. Watford will take on Tottenham Hotspur. Crystal Palace will take on West Ham. These are the fixtures for Saturday. On Sunday, Brentford will take on Aston Villa. Everton will take on Brighton. Leeds United will take on Burnley. Then you have Southampton. The Saints taking on Brighton, Hove and Albion. Then, of course, Chelsea will take on Liverpool. That's a big one. If you ask me, on Sunday, a lot of people will be looking forward to that game. And, of course, a lot of people will be looking forward to the game between Arsenal and Manchester City to see if Mikel Arteta is on course with the development of the Gunner squad. And by the way, Mikel Arteta will not be on the stands because he is isolating. He has contracted COVID-19 again. All right, so let's move on the show. Let's talk about Chelsea. Of course, Thomas Tuchel has been complaining about comments made by striker Romelu Lukaku. He's been saying that those comments will bring the kind of noise Chelsea do not need at this moment. Romelu Lukaku granted an interview granted an interview to an Italian broadcaster, and in that interview, he made comments about not liking Thomas Tuchel's style of play, about wanting to return to Inter, and also loving Inter and would love to play for Inter again. But here's the reaction of the Chelsea manager, Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, we don't like it, of course, because it brings noise that we don't need and is not helpful. But on the other side, we don't want to make more out of it than it actually is. You know very well how it is. It's very easy to take lines out of context. It's very easy to shorten lines, make headlines, and then later realize that it's not so bad and maybe not what he meant. If it's an interview from a person of that kind of interest, that important player, I totally understand the process. And that's why it's a lot of noise. It's not only a little bit of noise, it's a lot of extra noise.
Thomas Tuchel there, of course, not very happy with the comments made by Romelu Lukaku. All right, let's move on the show. Of course, Liverpool and Chelsea will be playing on Sunday, but the game has been overshadowed by the comments made by Romelu Lukaku. Next up is Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp is worried about the rising number of COVID-19 cases in Liverpool. Three cases have been reported among staff and football playing squad today, but he feels that the game will go ahead for now, and Liverpool has not asked for the game to be called off. Let's listen to Jurgen Klopp, of course, letting us know that he is worried, letting us know that the situation is unique. You go into a training session not knowing the players that will be available for the next game. You wait for tests to decide your squad list for a game. Let's listen to the German tactician speak out about his worries.
We don't have, we never had this kind of proper outbreak where 10, 15, 20 players had it. For us, it's more every day, another one. Stuff happens now more and more often. So I said before, it's a little bit feels like a lottery in the morning when you stand there and you wait for the result. It was now pretty much day by day, always one case. Today another one, and we have to wait. The boys are not even in yet. So we have to wait. In this moment, probably not, but we don't know how it will look in a few hours.
All right, Jurgen Klopp speaking his mind in that one ahead of that game against Chelsea. Let's travel to Spain now and talk about Atletico. Atletico will be up against Rayo Vallecano over the weekend, but the news is that manager Diego Simeone is self-isolating as the team trained without him. The club has been hit with COVID-19 cases. Simeone, the coach, is one of 5 cases at Atletico. Of course, others are Captain Koke, midfielder Hector Herrera, forwards Antoine Griezmann, and João Felix. 5 of the Atletico team testing positive for COVID-19, and the 5 isolated and not involved in training, and they will be ready to face Rayo Vallecano on Sunday. All right, Atletico is 5th in La Liga with 29 points after 18 games, and they host Rayo Vallecano at the Wanda Metropolitano on Sunday. Okay, so that's it. Let's talk about reactions now. Let's quickly talk about Manchester United manager Ralph Rangnick. Very happy that his strategy worked out well. 6 fresh players were able to lift Manchester United as they were able to defeat Burnley 3-1. Of course, top-class performance from Scott McTominay and some of the other guys. Cristiano Ronaldo was on the score sheet. Scott McTominay as well on the score sheet. Jadon Sancho also on the score sheet. Aaron Lennon got 1 goal for Burnley. It wasn't enough, all right? Of course, it was the day before Sir Alex Ferguson 80th birthday, and it was a good way to celebrate with the Manchester United legend. Let's listen to Ralph Rangnick talking about how his strategy paid off in the game against Burnley.
Against this team, I mean, we knew how difficult they would be, how persistent they would play. And it was a little bit of a war of attrition, a little bit of a difficult one to play. And therefore, it was for me important to have fresh players, 6 fresh players on the pitch compared to the game at Newcastle. And I think in the end, it paid off. It was the right players in the right positions. After the first goal we scored, we had control on the game in the first half, but then we gave away 1 goal. So whenever the ball was in our half, there is still some space for improvement. But offensively, I agree that was so far the best performance.
All right, Ralph Rangnick explaining his strategy, the decision to put 6 fresh legs on the field, and how it paid off for him. All right, let's spend the few minutes we have left on the show to talk tennis, the ATP Cup, of course, where tennis players represent their country, very similar to the Davis Cup. And, of course, Italy led by Matteo Berrettini, the world number 7. Of course, they're in confident mood as they prepare for the competition. Matteo Berrettini is confident that Italy can take the next step, which is winning the tournament. Let's listen to Matteo Berrettini talk ahead of the competition. That's the 2022 edition. And by the way, the Italians are in Group B with champions Russia, host Australia, and late entrants France. But here is Matteo Berrettini talking about the chances of Italy.
We feel happy to be here. I think if it's possible, the team is even stronger this year. So for sure, our aim is like to get the title. We know it's going to be a tough job. Every match is going to be difficult, but we believe that we can do it.
All right, let's flip it now and talk about the defending champions. Of course, leading them out is Daniil Medvedev, world number 2 from Russia, Daniil Medvedev. They are the defending champions, and Daniil Medvedev is saying, look, the Russians are good under pressure. It's a good time for the Russian squad. A lot of them playing so well. You have players like Roblev, Karatsev, all of them doing so well for Russia right at this moment. And of course, Daniil Medvedev saying, of course, he recognizes that it's going to be tough, but Russians are good under pressure. Here's Daniil Medvedev speaking ahead of the start of the 2022 ATP Cup.
I'm feeling a lot. Like last year was amazing for Russian tennis in general, with Olympic Games also, where I didn't do anything, but guys were unbelievable there. A lot of success. Girl won the Billie Jean Cup, was also unbelievable. We had, a lot of good results from everybody. And I think that's what can, again, help us a lot this week, because everybody is expecting us to do well. And usually, I like this kind of pressure. It makes you play better.
All right, that's it. It's a wrap on the show. It's the last one for the year 2021. When next we'll see, it's going to be 2022. So let me say Happy New Year in advance. We'll see you again in the new year. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.